Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I want you to picture a scenario where a relative of yours is celebrating their baby's 3-month milestone. They hand you the baby so that you can take a photo together. It's all smiles and joy, but 5 days after that photo is taken, the baby is struggling to breathe, and there is a persistent, violent cough as the baby gasps for air. The baby is rushed to the ER, pale in the face, with blue lips, and it is there at the hospital where the parents find out that the baby has contracted pertussis, also known as whooping cough. And what if I told you that you were the cause of it, even though you didn't display any obvious symptoms of sickness? This is the horrifying reality for thousands of parents every year, and it's only getting worse. You might be thinking, is there anything I could have done to prevent this? There is. You see, one dose of the Tdap vaccine could have easily prevented that baby from getting sick by you. But how would you know if you were not informed? Well, I hope by the end of this speech you have a better understanding of the importance, safety, and effectiveness of vaccines. Now, I'll be the first to admit that before I became a nursing student, I was extremely anti vax. I had misconceptions like a vaccine is going to make me sick, I don't know what they're injecting me with, it could be dangerous. It wasn't until I completed my science coursework that I finally understood the truth about vaccines. So, what is going on in our country that got me interested in this topic? Well, according to the Centers for Disease Control, the United States has seen the highest rate of measles outbreaks thus far in 2025. As of December 2nd, there have been 1,828 confirmed cases and 3 deaths, all of which could have been easily prevented. Measles was essentially eradicated in the year 2000, but as people began declining the vaccine for their kids, the measles virus has since made a drastic comeback. There has also been a significant rise in pertussis cases, with a little over 25,000 cases this year and 5 infant deaths. The Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy reports that in Kentucky alone, there were 3 infant deaths from pertussis where neither the mother nor the infant was vaccinated. The most frustrating thing about these unnecessary cases is that we have vaccines that have been proven to prevent the spread of measles and pertussis. So, why are we seeing a rise in preventable illness if we have the tools to prevent them? It's mainly due to two things: misinformation about vaccines and a lack of educating the public about how vaccines are safe and effective. So, what are some of the misconceptions about vaccinations? Well, there's a lot, but I'll stick with what I believe are the three big ones. The first misconception, and this is probably the biggest one, is the idea that vaccines cause autism. So, where did that idea originate? Well, according to an article published by the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health, a gastroenterologist named Andrew Wakefield published a paper in 1998 stating that 8 of 12 children who received the MMR vaccine developed autism. Dr. Wakefield's claim contained no supportive evidence or scientific study, and the paper was quickly redacted. He even lost his medical license, but the damage was already done as news began to spread. I'm sure we can all attest that a lie tends to spread faster than the truth. The second misconception is that natural immunity is better. This idea can be both wrong and dangerous. Take COVID as an example. Not only were some people getting severely ill, but some even died due to the complications from the virus. It wasn't because the virus was strong, it was due to the fact that it was something that our immune system had not seen before. While the immune system was trying to figure out how to combat it, the virus was busy replicating itself quickly and damaging respiratory tissue. It wasn't until the development of the COVID vaccine that we were able to get ahead of the virus. The third misconception is that vaccines make you sick, or that they are dangerous. Typical side effects from a vaccine can include fever and soreness at the injection site, but vaccines do not get you sick. In fact, the safety and effectiveness of vaccines are the highest priority. The CDC reports that vaccines typically take years to create. They undergo rigorous testing and a 3-phase clinical trial to ensure safety. Once a vaccine passes all 3 phases of the clinical trial, data findings are passed on to the FDA for final approval. So, how does a vaccine work and why is it considered safe and effective? I want you to think of a vaccine as a set of instructions, and think of your cells as a factory that will take those instructions to create a product. The COVID virus had a specific spike protein on the surface of its cell that allowed it to bind to respiratory tissue cells, but our immune system had never encountered this spike protein before. A COVID vaccine provides cells with a set of instructions to mimic the spike protein, and as your immune system encounters those cells, it produces antibodies that neutralize any cell that contains the spike protein. The same mechanism occurs when your body comes in contact with any virus. The difference with vaccines is that they do not contain a live virus, just the instructions to create a specific protein on a cell surface. Now, you might be thinking, if my body already does this, why would I bother getting vaccinated? Well, think of it this way. Would you rather get sick, potentially very sick, while your body tries to fight, or would you rather introduce specific components of the virus to your immune system in a safe and controlled way so that it can be prepared if it meets the real thing? According to the Cleveland Clinic, a vaccine does not guarantee that you won't get sick should you encounter the real virus, but it will provide significant protection, as flu vaccines have been proven to have a chance of 40 to 60% of preventing the flu altogether and an 82% chance of preventing hospitalization. And this brings us to why it's so important to vaccinate infants and children. Their immune system is not fully developed, which makes them susceptible to severe infection or complications brought on by viruses and bacteria. Vaccinating infants and kids gives their immune system the upper hand, which prevents them from getting very sick or worse, dying. At the same time, vaccinating adults prevents the spread of disease to those that are weak and vulnerable. So, how do we address the lack of public education surrounding vaccines? Well, that can be tricky. As we have seen when COVID vaccines were mandatory for healthcare workers, there was serious pushback against the mandate, which then trickled down to everyday citizens. The mandate was not viewed as a precautionary action, but rather as a loss of right to choose, and this was damaging to the preconceived ideas of the vaccine. The mandate should have been explained as a duty and responsibility of healthcare workers to protect themselves and their patients, but instead made them feel like their right to choose was taken away. The mindset needs to change from "you can't make me do that" to "I should do that because it could protect me and those around me." Another problem is most people see their doctor once a year, and some people often go years without seeing their doctor, making it even harder for people to be informed by a medical professional about the importance of vaccinations. If we can't rely on healthcare companies to budget spending for a push in vaccination advertisements, then it's up to us to be informed about the importance of vaccinations, call out misinformation, and educate others for the betterment of society. In closing, I hope I've encouraged you to think differently about vaccines and the misconceptions surrounding them. Vaccines are not created to harm us. They are designed to give our bodies a fighting chance against severe preventable illness. As CDC data shows, diseases like measles and pertussis are reaching their highest levels in years, a rise directly linked to declining vaccination rates among both adults and children. If we continue to look the other way, these numbers and the deaths that follow will only grow. And they don't have to. We already have safe, effective tools to prevent these outcomes. So today, I challenge you. Check your vaccination status, seek accurate information, and help stop the spread of dangerous myths. Because no one should suffer from illnesses we already know how to prevent. Thank you.